As you may already know, a ketogenic diet is a very low carbohydrate, moderate protein, and high fat diet. There are many variations of the ketogenic diet, and this video aims to go through some of the more common ones. The original or traditional ketogenic therapy, also known as the classic ketogenic diet, or classic keto for short, was designed in the early 1920s for the treatment of epilepsy. The classic keto carries a 4-to-1 ratio, which means that there are 4 parts fat for every 1 part of protein and carbs combined. Although a 4-to-1 ratio is considered as the gold standard for classic keto, a 3-to-1 ratio is also included in descriptions of classic keto in most publications. All other ketogenic diets are a variation of the classic keto, which is the most restrictive version, seen by its ratio of fat to protein and carbs combined. This ratio is called the macronutrient ratio. So, the main difference between all types of ketogenic diets is this macronutrient ratio. A common variation to the classic keto is the modified ketogenic diet. It is less restrictive than the classic keto and can be helpful when starting the diet or when adopting a less restrictive long-term diet. It carries a macronutrient ratio between 3-to-1 to 1-to-1. This version helps with better compliance and may help in decreasing potential digestive discomfort and nutrient deficiency that may occur with long-term classic keto eating. The modified Atkins diet is another variation. It is a mix between the classic keto and Atkins diet. The Atkins diet is a diet that limits carbohydrate eating, but focusing on higher fats and protein. The term modified here refers to a lower carbohydrate limit of 10 to 20 grams per day compared to the original Atkins recommendations, and has an emphasis on high-fat foods as is required on a ketogenic diet. On top of that, the modified Atkins diet also encourages people to not consume too much protein, limiting to about 30% of calories intake. The modified Atkins diet typically carries approximately a 1-to-1 macronutrient ratio. Thus, it is often used as a transition onto or from a more strict ketogenic diet. Another variation of ketogenic diet that was designed as an alternative to treat epilepsy is the low glycemic index treatment. The low glycemic index treatment monitors not only the daily total amount of carbohydrates consumed, but also focuses on carbohydrates that have low glycemic index. The glycemic index of food refers to how high a food raises your blood glucose after eating, compared to a reference food such as sugar. Compared to the ketogenic diet, the low glycemic index treatment allows more carbohydrate intake, with a total of about 40 to 60 grams of low glycemic carbohydrates a day, and less fat intake with just about 60% of calories coming from fat. It is also not intended to promote ketosis. In addition to restricting to low glycemic carbohydrate foods, the metabolism of carbohydrates is slowed by foods eaten at the same time that contain fat or fiber. This makes meal composition extremely important. The medium chain triglyceride oil diet is another less restrictive approach to the ketogenic diet. The MCT oil diet is more flexible and allows a larger variety of food to be included due to higher carbohydrate and protein allowance, with a rough macronutrient ratio of 2-to-1. MCT oil is more ketogenic than long-chain fats, with certain MCTs bypassing the liver and converting directly into ketones. This means that less total fat is needed. Typically, medium-chain fatty acids provide 30 to 50% of total calories, and long-chain fatty acids make up another 20 to 30%. However, this percentage needs to be adjusted up and down, as individual response to MCT oil varies widely. It is worth mentioning intermittent fasting when speaking about variations of ketogenic diet. While intermittent fasting does not emphasize what to eat, it changes the timing and frequency of food consumption. This dietary intervention reduces the window of time a person eats throughout the day, forcing the body to access energy from body fat. Similar to a ketogenic diet, fat is being broken down into fatty acids and ketones. Then the state of ketosis is achieved. Some individuals practice intermittent fasting and adopt a ketogenic diet. When combined with ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting can help optimize levels of ketosis, as well as reduce the time it takes for an individual to become fat or ketone adapted.